Hello everyone, welcome back and happy Sabbath. Today we will be going over part 2 of our 3-part series. So last time we reviewed the purpose of friendships, and today we will go over who we can call friends. So how do you guys decide who you can call a friend?
I think first of all, you can't really call a friend right away. There's like levels. There's someone you just ran into. Then it goes to acquaintance, which is someone that is not really a friend yet, but you know each other, like someone you just see in class every now and then. And then from there it moves on to friendship, depending on how much you hang out, how well you get along with each other, Because I'm pretty sure we all have those people that we see all the time, but we're not really friends.
Oh yeah.
Like you see him at the store, and it's not like the same person you see that's the cashier at the store. He's not your friend. It's an acquaintance. Like they know your name, you know their name because they always charge you.
Example.
But then there's also people that like you meet and you hang out with them often, and then that's where the friendship comes in.
Yeah, that was a good way to put it. Does anyone else have any other opinions?
Something I wanted to point out in the last video is that you can have many friends. You can have good friends and the not so good friends too, the ones that aren't really good influences. But I want to say that even if they're not good influences, like don't just blow them off completely. Like if anything, help them out to become better, and so you can just have good friends. Try to make the not so good influences better.
Yeah, that is all correct. So when we think of friends, like friendship, it's the good times, the bad times. They're always supporting you, as we covered in last videos. There's crazy times, there's fun times. So friendships can always help us get better as a person, as an individual, and they help us get closer to God as well. Or they can actually prevent you from getting closer to God, which is why we should take friendships very seriously. So this day we will go deeper into who we can call friends and what the Bible has to say about that. So let's go ahead and start with verse number 1 in Proverbs 12:26.
So Proverbs 12:26 says, "The godly give good advice to their friends, the wicked lead them astray." So with this verse, I really like it what we should take from this verse is that you have like bad influences in your life maybe, and they'll try to give you advice, but that's the important thing. Like if you have friends that are not as good influences, like be careful with the advice they give you because it's not going to be good. So we could probably have those influences, but like be careful what they tell you.
Yeah. Oh, you can go ahead and talk. I was gonna say something.
No, I was gonna refer back to the previous video when we're talking about how like we have those friends, like the true friends, like you can really like talk to, and they can like tell you like do something bad,
mm-hmm.
And then you have those, I guess, fake not good friends that when they criticize you, they do it to make you feel bad, And that's kind of like I got that from your verse and what you're explaining.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it can be. It's easy to deceive someone, I guess, if you don't have a great relationship with God, or you're just not careful. It's easy to be fooled by someone who thinks that like they could be your friend, but when they really aren't really looking out for you.
Yeah, and we should definitely be careful of those that are kind of leading us into the wrong path.
Yeah. So always be cautious when you're choosing your friends. Let's move on to the second verse, which is found in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 9 through 11.
All right, chapter 5, verses 9 through 11 says, "When I wrote to you before, I told you not to associate with people who indulge in sexual sin, but I wasn't talking about unbelievers who indulge in sexual sin, or greedy or cheat people, or worship idols. You would have to leave this world to avoid people like that. I mean that you're not to associate with anyone who claims to be a believer, yet indulges in sexual sin, or is greedy, or worships idols, or is abusive, or is drunkard, or cheats people. Don't even eat with such people." I guess this one's talking more about people that they say they're Christians, but their lifestyle shows completely the opposite.
Yeah, as in, I think it's trying to talk about, I agree with you, someone that can act like a different person when they're in front of like church or like other people, and they're like, "Oh, I'm a Christian, I praise God and everything," but in the background they're like doing all these bad things.
So do they really have a Christian attitude? I guess is the question. One can say there's something, but have you ever heard that phrase says like, I can't hear what you're saying because your actions speak louder than your words?
That's why it's like, you don't have to just, it's not just about saying you're Christian, but it's like, do you live like one? Like, does your attitude like show that you're a Christian?
Yeah, and it's also kind of saying like, don't just go by what everyone says. Be careful with your friends and watch what they also do to see if they're actually good people.
Yeah, like even if you're not a Christian, just anyone who's actively and I guess purposely living in sin, you should just not hang around them because they will only bring you into their ways. Because it's contagious. Like, hanging out with people like that will only make you want to be like that, or even you unconsciously living in sin.
Yeah.
Which is very dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the third verse, found in Proverbs 19, verses 6 and 7.
Proverbs 19, verses 6 and 7 says, "Many seek favors from a ruler. Everyone is the friend of a person who gives gifts. The relatives of the poor despise them. How much more will their friends avoid them? Though the poor plead with them, their friends are gone."
Whoa.
That's I think a little deep, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's something that happens a lot today.
Yeah, like you'll see people that treat like the boss amazing, or they treat someone that has like a lot of money like really well. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because of what they have, not really who they are.
They want to be a part of that.
Yes. And I think a good way you can see how like a person's character is not how they treat someone that's above them,
but how they treat someone that's below them.
Yes, like how they treat someone that's below them, like maybe like, and not necessarily below them, but also like, let's say you go to a restaurant, how do they treat the waiter? Do they treat him rude, or do they treat him like with respect? You know, people that like are even equal or less of them, like how do they treat them? Do they treat them like with respect, the way they should be, like with a Christian attitude, or do they treat them like, I don't want to say trash, but like people treat people like trash sometimes. You know, so that's I guess how you can see someone's real character, like to see if it's like, are they a person that's just interested in what people have or what they want, you know? Because I've seen videos like on, and I'm pretty sure we've all seen these videos around Facebook where like this person dressed up as whatever says like, hey, can you help me out, you know, or hey, do you want to go on a date with me and stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
And then they're like, oh no, I'm busy, or like I even saw one where like this girl pretended to be like, she's like, oh, I don't speak Spanish, you know, because like I was speaking Spanish, and then he gets a phone call from like this lottery company, and he's like, can you help me translate? And he's like, sure, I guess, you know, like, and he's like, oh, can you tell Mr. whatever that he won over so many millions of dollars like in the lottery? And she's like, oh, te dijeron, like she starts speaking Spanish to him, and he's like, wait, I thought you didn't speak Spanish. She's like, oh, I was kidding, like, and it's like, but let's go pick up your check, you know? And he's like, what? He's like, nah, I'm going with my friends, you know?
It's like, no.
So I thought that was funny, but like, there's people out there like that.
That's
you know,
crazy.
that they just look at if you have money or not.
Yeah, even if you do have money, like they'll treat you good in front of your face, but they can be totally, completely
behind your back.
Behind your back, they have a different image of you, and they don't really like you, but they'll never see that to your face.
But then it's not also just money. Like it could also be like a boss, you know, or like someone that's like just higher up than you in like anything. Like maybe like a group leader, just they'll treat that person better because he's a group leader, or they'll treat like the boss better, or
just
they'll treat the manager, just to get on the good side because they know that maybe someday they could help them out or something, right? And it's just interest, like it's not genuine. But yeah,
I also think like they'll just be with you when it's convenient for them. Because let's like talk about an example of wealthiness. It can be a boss or whatever, but let's say you're this wealthy person and they love you, they're your friend, they adore you, you're the best friend ever, and then you get poor out of a sudden, and they're just not there for you anymore. Like, they'll completely go out the window. Like, bye. Or even if it's your boss, like you're the boss and they love you and adore you and you're their best friend and you're no longer their boss, then they don't care about you anymore.
It's funny because there's a movie in Spanish, like Nosotros
Oh,
los
I know what you're
Nobles,
talking about.
where like this
That
girl.
is a good movie.
Okay, this movie is really good, guys. It's very funny. It's in Spanish. It's called Nosotros los Nobles. But anyway, so in this movie, this older man has 3 children, and one of them is a daughter, and she's dating this guy, and they're about to get married, but the dad makes a prank on them that like they were broke out of nowhere. So the daughter asks for money to her fiance, and he's like,
He, like,
I
blows
don't
her
have
off.
any money right now, but and he just starts blowing her off, you know. And then when he finds out that it was all fake, he's like,
Let's
"Hey,
get married."
Let's get married. I brought you money." You know?
I love you again.
Yeah. So I mean,
Wow.
be careful with the people you go out with.
Yeah. Who you call friends, who you make relationships with.
It's a good movie though. You should watch it.
It is a very good movie.
It's a comedy, so it's really funny.
Yeah. So let's move on to the last verse, which is found in Proverbs 13, verse 20. And it says, "Walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and get in trouble."
That reminds me a lot to what our parents used to tell us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
Like, if you hang out with people that do bad stuff, like,
Then you're gonna get in trouble.
you're gonna get in trouble. And even though you might not necessarily be doing bad stuff in the beginning, peer pressure, even though they don't sometimes actively peer pressure you, you will slowly fall into peer pressure, you know. And also, like, if you hang out with like people that are smarter or people that are like trying to better themselves, just because you hang out with those people, you yourself are gonna want to be better. You yourself are gonna try to be study more or increase yourself in like any way possible, you know, because you're surrounded by people that have the train of thought of like, I want to make myself better than before.
Yeah, because you're hanging out with all these people and you're surrounded by like them just doing such good things. You're like, I want to catch up to them, you know, I want to do good just like them. So you start studying harder, you start doing like good things. And
Yeah. It's because, like, who you're friends with, they have a powerful influence on you, which is why we should take friendships seriously and who we call friends, because this influence, it could be either good or bad. So, and it's just, it goes into your unconscious and you start acting like them or thinking like them. So if they're a good person and they're very wise, you'll be thinking, oh, like, what would they do? Oh, I need to study more. I should be more like this person. Or if you're hanging out with bad people, like, oh, I don't want to do this. I shouldn't be,
Well,
I
and
don't want to do anything anymore.
It doesn't have to necessarily be bad people.
Yeah.
Like, let's make it simple. Let's say that you are friends with someone that all they do all day is play video games. Like, they don't do anything else but play video games. When you hang out with them, what are you going to do?
play video games.
Play video games, right? So you slowly start playing more video games. But if you hang out with someone that, like, if you're really good friends someone that works out a lot, and they invite you to work out, what are you gonna end up doing?
Working out.
Yeah, and what's better? Like, I mean, yeah, video games are fun, but also exercise and working out is good too. So, I mean, depending on the kind of people you hang out with is the kind of stuff you do. If you don't hang out with someone that tries to, like, get good grades and stuff like that, then you will be like, well, like, they don't get good grades, so why? Like, they don't have, like, the straight A's, then it's okay for me not to have straight A's, you know, kind of a thing. Unless you yourself have the dedication to be like, no matter what happens, I have to get those straight A's, you know?
Or you'll be that influence, or you'll be that influence on another person who doesn't get straight A's to be like, hey, get straight A's.
And that's easy when it's just like 2 people. But let's say you're the only person in a group of like 5 people that tries to better themselves. Slowly, they're going to try to carry you back to their level. And like, it's not on purpose. Like, they don't want to be like, oh, don't be good or anything. It's just
that's how they are.
That's how they are, and that's the environment you hang out with, and you adapt to whatever environment you're in.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, and then there's those friends that like they're good friends that you're trying to study, and then they'll help you study so you can get better. They'll help you with all these things, you know.
Yeah, and looking at a Christian perspective is people that have like, hey, let's go to a Bible study, compared to someone like, hey, let's go to a nightclub. You know?
Yeah. That's crazy. So, when it comes to making friends, scripture does not imply that we should hang out with whoever will hang out with us. Rather, we are told to carefully choose individuals who demonstrate godliness. So, let's go over some questions that we should reflect on, and you guys should too. And of course, we'll provide these questions on the description to this video. So, the first question is, will this person bring me closer to the Lord or pull me away from Him?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question to ask yourself. Because obviously our goal is to be closer to God. You know, so if your friendships are not bringing you closer to God, then you might want to reanalyze.
You need to make some changes.
You need to reanalyze your friendship.
Yeah.
Like, are they pulling you away from Him? Or are you... Like, even if they're not, like, the closest person to God, at least are you bringing them closer to God?
Yeah.
You know, because it's fine if they were not close to God and you're bringing them closer. Like, you're being the good friend, you know? But if they're pulling you away from God, then that's when you need to reevaluate your
or
your
you
friendship.
yourself are straying and you're not helping this person at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the second question is this person living the kind of life that God would want me to live? So I think that goes into what I was saying earlier, that we just like unconsciously live or act and think the way they would, this certain friend, and it's both in the good way and a bad way. We start being kind of like them because they have such a strong influence on us. Of course, we call them friends. This is a friendship, you know?
I think I had a little parenthesis here. These questions and everything we're talking about, the last video was straight up friends, but since this, I think this topic, this section could actually be applied to like even someone you're looking into like dating.
Yeah.
You know, because you want someone that has those qualities that bring you closer to God, or you bring them closer to God, you know. So I think it's very important to analyze these questions with everyone that you are with, like everyone you meet, like have these questions in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to bring them up.
Yeah, so this is the end of our part 2 of friendships. Again, we will not say what the next topic of friendships is for the next video, but it is going to be good, and it is the last one, and I think we will be doing more series because they're just fun. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on friendships and who we call friends, and always reflect on these questions that we just said and that we just asked, and always keep them in the back of your head like George said, and think about who you can really call friends. Also ask God for guidance and the Holy Spirit to guide you on who you can call a friend, because friendships are very serious and they have a very powerful influence on us, whether it's for good or for bad. So yeah, happy Sabbath everyone.
Happy
Bye.
Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath.